Metaphysically, a crystal grid uses sacred geometry to harness the energy of crystals and to connect them with your goal. You may be wondering, what is sacred geometry? We choose a sacred geometry pattern usually when we create a crystal grid. And that's because we need to have a grounding foundation that's going to be the battery and harnessing all of our will and intention and wishes. So we need to have a base. You can also think of it as some kind of sigil, as seen in the craft. But overall, when we use a crystal grid, it's really going to be a generator that's going to magnify the healing, the desire, the will, the intention, and the power of the crystal enthusiast, the person wielding the crystal grid. It's going to serve the director's purpose. So when we construct a crystal grid, you can go about it in different ways. You can draw by hand your crystal grid. You can look at some sacred geometry shapes online and print it on a printer. Sometimes you can even buy pre-made crystal grids, and they have different types of designs, either on wood, on metal, or on some kind of surface or plastic that's going to represent the sacred geometry pattern. There's really no right or wrong way to go about it, but you do need to have some kind of sacred geometry. Now, you can also use shapes. If you're not inclined to use a sacred geometry pattern, you can always go as simple as a circle, a triangle, or a square. But you can also use other types of symbols and signs, such as the 12-pointed star, perhaps even Metatron's cube, or the pentacle or pentagram. So just keep in mind that every sacred geometry shape and pattern is going to hold an energetic signature. So you want to try to match what it is that you're trying to do. Is it for healing? Is it to manifest abundance? And in this case, for this video, we're trying to do self-improvement. So self-improvement is all about confidence, strength, courage, bravery, and to energize the mental, physical, and emotional body of the person. So we're going to be using a sacred geometry pattern that's going to help amplify that. So you really have to do just a little bit of mild research, but overall you really can't go wrong on which sacred geometry shape. As long as you go about it with respect and enthusiasm, you're going to have the desired outcome with your crystal grid. The sacred geometry pattern that we're going to use for self-improvement today is the flower of life. Now, the flower of life is really the blueprint of nature, of time and matter within this physical reality and the universe. It is a beautiful sacred geometry that is steeped in the mystery teachings, and it's connected with the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And it really encompasses balance, peace, tranquility, harmony, unity, and it really energizes. Like this symbol, like there's an energy. It's almost like universal life force energy, like chi energy. It just radiates the spark of life. So because I'm trying to do self-improvement, on a crystal grid. I've chosen the Flower of Life because I know it's going to help with the physical matter of living on earth as well as the physical body, because it has the DNA, the blueprint, the divine essence and spark tied with this pattern. So I know it's going to be a perfect design to amplify my will and purpose, which is self-improvement. Before I give you a visual of how I construct this crystal grid, I just want to go over how to construct a crystal grid and what crystals we're going to be using and their meanings and functions. So we're doing the goal, the intention of self-improvement. And with self-improvement, we need to have enhancer crystals. And the reason why we need to have enhancer crystals is because they are great amplifiers of courage, of strength, and really help to motivate the individual. So when we're looking at self-improvement, we're looking at meeting goals. We're looking at facing fears. We're looking at trying to get motivated. So to get motivated, sometimes you need to have energy, positivity, and you need to, break out of your comfort zone. So these enhancer crystals are wonderful to do that. So I have 4 enhancer crystals that I have chosen for this crystal grid. The first one is Lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli is a beautiful gemstone that helps with strength, courage, and it really helps to calm the nerves and to really put a person within their own power. It also has a mystical element to it, so because I'm doing spiritual work, it's also going to help guide me to develop my psychic abilities as well as my metaphysical aspirations in life. So the first enhancer crystal is Lapis lazuli. Now, I did not remember to mention this, but I will mention it now. Enhancer crystals are part of the isometric crystal system, which means that on the molecular structure, they have a cube-like symmetry to them. Once you start to dive a little bit deeper into crystal healing, you're going to learn about the different types of crystal systems and how they relate with one another. So it is really interesting to try to pair crystals within their own crystal system groups because they complement each other. So the second enhancer crystal that I have is Garnet. So Garnet is an amazing crystal that helps to bring about sociability. It helps someone to create more social interactions. It brings friendships, it brings networking, and it helps one to be sincere and true to oneself. So I'm using Garnet really as a glamour stone to help bring about the positivity and the sincerity that I'm trying to showcase to the public. So that's an enhancer crystal, Garnet. The third enhancer crystal that I have is Fluorite. Now with Fluorite, I'm actually using Fluorite for mental clarity, to really clear the mind of doubt, of fears, and to really think clearly. I'm also using it as to be able to induce visions, to have foresight, and to be able to have more inspiration, imagination, and to create amazing works of art. So I'm really using Fluorite as an enhancer crystal to help my mental faculties for self-improvement, because personally for myself, I have dyslexia. Sometimes it does slow me down, and I'm really trying to work on that as a lifelong trait. Dyslexia doesn't go away, but you can use different types of programs and habits and tips and tricks to kind of like soothe the delays of someone that has that learning disability. So I'm really trusting my mental faculties on Fluorite to help with that. Now the fourth one is Pyrite. Pyrite is also an enhancer crystal, and I'm actually using pyrite to help to clear all negative energies. But because pyrite is also considered fool's gold, it's really great to bring about financial abundance. Now, because I'm doing self-improvement, the secondary wish behind that is that I'm trying to improve myself, to have a successful spiritual business, a successful YouTube channel, and to be able to live out my life's purpose and mission authentically and transparently. And hopefully I can have a well-balanced life financially. So I'm asking pyrite for that self-improvement within this crystal grid. So those are the 4 enhancer crystals. Now let's review the remaining crystals that are going to be used in this crystal grid. When we have a crystal grid, especially when we are mirroring the crystal grid to represent ourselves, so the crystal grid is about the owner, about the director, about the initiate, so to speak. You need to choose an anchor crystal. An anchor crystal is going to represent the individual. It's going to be the embodiment of who you are. So as an anchor crystal, you need to choose something that represents who you are, or an aspect of who you are in this crystal grid. So for this crystal grid with the self-improvement, I've actually chosen this beautiful heart-shaped rose quartz to represent myself as the anchor crystal. And even to give it a little bit more juju, I put my anchor crystal underneath my pillow overnight, the day before I am doing this crystal grid, so it has my energy on it. So the anchor crystal is going to be placed at the center of the crystal grid and is going to be a representation of yourself, so all of the energies of the crystals and the grid can be working for you. Now, the supplementary, so like the extra crystals that you can choose to put on your crystal grid is really a matter of choice. Now, because I'm using this for self-improvement, I wanted to really focus on my throat chakra for communication, for expression, and to be able to speak my truth and live out my authentic life. So there's nothing better than blue kyanite. So I have some blue kyanite right here, and this is going to go in the place of the throat chakra, and I'm going to be using blue kyanite to help me speak better, communicate better, relay information, and to make connections with the public within my business. So for self-improvement, I am definitely working on my communication skills, so there's nothing better than blue kyanite to assist with that. Now finally, we need to have crystal points. A crystal grid is not complete without crystal points. They are the network, the veins. They're the ones that connect the other types of crystals to one another. And you can really arrange them in a grid for a specific purpose. So these are some crystal points, and I have different sizes. I have like a big one, little ones. Usually you want to try to build up a collection of different types of crystal points. Now, you can use clear quartz points or Lemurian points. My preference is Lemurian points. That's what I have here, and that is what I'm using for my crystal grid. And you can always have a extra touch by implementing flowers, herbs, different types of objects to beautify and to amplify your crystal grid. So in between the circumference at the exterior, like the edge of the circle of the flower of life, I'm going to be placing real rose petals in between the crystals. And that's because I enjoy the energies of roses. They are very high vibration, and I just want to bring in more of that compassion, that tender loving care of the divine feminine aspect. So I've chosen pink to bring about those loving vibrations. So that is the overall rundown of the different types of crystals that I'm going to be using on this crystal grid. When we use a crystal grid, you can go about it in so many different ways. Usually you want to have a plan, a template, and you kind of want to write out just beforehand what it is that you're going to be doing just before you do the crystal grid. And you can get inspirations and ideas from other types of YouTube videos or on websites or within books. Really, the sky's the limit. Or you can simply use your divine imagination to create your crystal grid as per your intuition and insight. Again, there's no right or wrong way. It's really the sincerity behind the crystal grid that's going to manifest your wish and your desires. Now let's dive into how we construct this crystal grid for self-improvement with enhancer crystals. Let's make this amazing crystal grid for the purpose of self-improvement. Before we get into it, I have to mention this amazing crystal grid book. It was inspired, it has inspired me for this crystal grid. It's called Crystal Grid Work by 𝒜𝓈𝓉𝓇𝒶, and it's a beautiful illustrated book on crystals and sacred geometry and how to utilize them. So what inspired me was this section right here in regards to enhancer crystals. And then we can see a beautiful illustration of the different types of enhancer crystals. We have Pyrite, Lapis lazuli, and Fluorite. And then there's all of these different other alternatives that she provides in the book as well. So I can't recommend this book enough, but it's based on this premise for enhancer crystals to improve circumstances, magnify success, and self-improvement. Now, let's get into it. So here we have everything that's required for the crystal grid, plus my kitty cat. Okay, Maximus, are you done making an entrance? Okay, thank you. Let me continue. So I have my flower of life right here, and I have all of the crystals that I'm planning to use here on the side. So now we're just going to assemble. As I mentioned before, the flower of life is a very powerful sacred geometry shape. It allows self-love, inspiration, self-worth, and it boosts confidence. So this is absolutely a perfect sacred geometry shape for self-improvement. So now we're going to look at how are we going to construct this crystal grid. Well, usually you want to start, and this is just my personal method and the method that I'm following from the book that I just showed you, and you know, feel free to go about it however way that feels right for you, but this is an example. So you want to start with a focus stone, and the reason why we're focusing on this stone, which is a heart-shaped rose quartz, is because this is going to represent myself. So this grid is for the purpose of self-improvement. That's the goal. And what it is that I'm trying to improve are the different types of habits and circumstances in my environment and in my life, and I'm trying to improve them. So I have to pick a crystal that's going to represent my energetic signature, my life spark. So I put this beautiful heart-shaped rose quartz underneath my pillow. So it's tied with my energy. And now we're going to place it right in the middle of the crystal grid. And it's going to be the focus stone. Now, there is another name that I used for a focus stone, and that's the anchor stone. So focus stone, anchor stone, it really is the target, what it is that all of these energies of crystals, where is it going to be funneled through? It's going to be all for this focus, this anchor crystal. So now we're going to go about it by placing some other crystals, which are enhancer crystals. So for self-improvement, I wanted to have clarity of mind and to have better creative vision. So I chose fluorite for mental clarity. So I'm going to be putting it at the chakra, the crown chakra point. So I'm actually using 2 of them. It's just, you can use 1, but I'm using 2. So this represents the crown chakra, my mental faculties, the imagination, creativity, and it's really going to help inspire that. So once I place all the crystals, then you can start programming them and setting your intention. So I also mentioned I wanted to work on communication. So for my throat chakra, so now I'm going to be placing just a couple of blue kyanite. I'm going to place them together to make it one. And this blue kyanite is actually to help with opening my throat chakra, to bring forth better communication, better networking, and just overall trying to have that blue and clear energy from the blue kyanite. So that's my throat chakra. Now, I also wanted to bring about financial abundance for my spiritual business. That's my cat running around. Oh my goodness. So with everything else in life, the lower 3 chakras usually are within the material realm. So I'm actually going to place this really big piece of kyanite right at the bottom, and then again I'm just going to place this other kyanite right here. So now within all of these little circles, there are crystals in complete alignment. So there's no right or wrong way to do this. It's really the way you want to artistically represent it, or you can follow exactly in the book, but this is something that I'm creating myself. So the pyrite is really going to help with bringing financial abundance, and also to bring in more good luck and prosperity. So on the side, I wanted to put some red garnet stones because I really wanted to have good social communications, to have better networking, to bring in more friends, more alliances, more kindred spirits towards me. So these are what I would call like their enhancements, their attraction stones. And I'm going to put them here on the side. There we go. There. I'm just going to put 4 of them right here. And they're just right beside my body. Okay. So there we go. Okay. So now I want to put my lapis lazuli. And the lapis lazuli is really going to be about bringing in that spiritual growth, that protection, that abundance, that prosperity. I absolutely love. So this is really the stones that are really going to magnify, because I'm putting them all around the crystal grid like this. I'm just trying to see if I should put them at the points here like that. There we go. So you just, adjust your design to however way you want to do it. And that one's pretty big, so that goes there. So I have a circle now. Now, you want to put your crystal points, because the crystal points are going to be the connectors. They're going to be like the veins. What it is that I'm trying to connect? Well, I always try to form a circle. So I'm just going to put it in a circle. different shapes and sizes. That one's pretty small, so maybe we'll just put that there. We'll put that there like that. That's also small, so we'll put a small one there. Larger here. Large one there. Medium one here. Okay, so as you can see, all the crystal points are forming a circle. Now, I also want to put rose petals, so I'm just putting them where I feel I should have them. So this is just, again, magnifying the energy. There we go. And roses have a very high vibration. 2, 3, 4. And I like putting things in sequence of numbers, so we'll just put 4 of each on each side. 3 and 4. I'm gonna put a crystal here next to the heart, and then again here, even though I don't have a small one, but this is just basically to connect. Kind of wanted that connecting. There we go. Okay, what I mean there, so it's connecting. So I have an extra one, so that's okay, we don't have to put them all. The self-made crystal grid for the purpose of self-improvement is customized to my personality, to my wants, to my desires, to my goals and dreams. So for me, I'm going to go into contemplation and meditation, and I'm going to put my hand over each crystal, and I'm going to tell the crystal, you know, please help me in this divine work for self-improvement. And then I'm going to ask each crystal to do a job for me while they're sitting in this crystal grid. And that's basically all you have to do. You just got to go about it with patience, respect, and understand that crystals are part of the divine creator. They have their own unique consciousness. They work with energy. They're here to assist us, and we just have to take care of them like we would anything else in nature. So the crystal grid now is going to be complete once I program it, once I go into meditation, and once I consecrate and seal it. Then I'm going to place it on a high bookshelf, and I'm not going to allow anyone to touch it, not to allow any of my cats to touch it. And I'm going to leave it there for a cycle of the full moon. So what's interesting now is that, you know, we just finished the full moon. So technically I should have waited until the new moon. But you know, you can go by the cycles of the moon, you can do some astrology, whatever feels comfortable for you, or you can just do it for a few days, a few weeks, a few months. I'm actually going to be using this crystal grid a little bit more long term. So this is something that I'm going to place on my bookshelf, because every day I'm trying to work to self-improve, break bad habits, and to kind of bring in more desired manifestation. So once I feel that that energy output has been sent out, and that I'm waiting for the universe to give it back to me, once I receive the energy or the instructions or just the fulfillment of the manifestation, then I can disassemble each crystal. And when you do that, you want to cleanse your crystals either using cellulite or smudging. Be careful when putting it in salt water. I prefer using the dry method of salt water. I just put sometimes crystals in a bowl of pink Himalayan sea salt without water, so there's no chance of it being damaged. But you can always just use cellulite or a feather smudging, or any type of other type of cleansing tools, such as putting it in the earth or leaving it out on your windowsill during the full moon's light. But again, I mentioned this in my previous videos, not all stones like sunlight, not all stones like moonlight, so you really have to research the trait, personality, and mineral composition and stone category to see where they like to live and how they like to be treated. Like I said, crystals to a whole other level. I really respect them as a other type of consciousness, and you know, you can too. It just takes a little bit of time and research. So overall, this is an example of a crystal grid. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned. I'm going to do more different types of crystal grids in my future videos. Now it's time for you to tell me stuff.
Is this your first time doing a crystal grid? If so, did you find this video helpful? Which sacred geometry pattern is your favorite? Which crystals do you like to use? Would you like to see more crystal grid examples in my future videos? Please let me know in the comments below.
I want to thank you so much for watching until the end of this video, and remember, dear Stardust, everything that you're searching for is already found within you. I want to wish you all a good night and sweet dreams. Until next time, planet people,